Happy New Year 2024.
Happy New Year. How's your holiday?
You know, you've asked me that like 3 times, and I'm like, I haven't really fully answered that too. I was like, am I avoiding that question? It went by really quickly.
Yeah.
I think as I get older, do you notice that? Does it just fly by?
Yeah, because I think like when you're younger, it's just, there's so much more to look forward to.
So many festivities, so many people, like, you know, a lot of Filipino families and stuff. I mean, we had a big family, so on the Mendoza side, there would be at least like 10 families, you know?
Yeah.
All under one same roof.
That's nice.
And so even back then it went by quickly, but it was just so much more jam-packed. So now that we're all older, I spent most of my holiday at my parents' house.
In the Bay.
Yeah. And I even declined some stuff from my parents, like, oh, do you want to come to like our work? Because they own elderly care homes.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have some Christmas party with the staff, and which was lovely. I was like, as they should, and give their, like, you know, bonuses and have some Filipino food. And they cook so much good stuff. And I was kind of sad they didn't bring any Filipino food home. But talking about New Year's and resolutions and goals, I am very proud of myself. I said no to. I don't want to go with you, Mom and Dad.
That's such a big thing. It's like, I forgot who said it, but I think someone, like an actress or someone said, like, no is a full sentence.
I remember that. No is a full sentence. And it was very hard, especially for my mom too, because I noticed she was like listing so many reasons why I should go, making you not maybe to feel guilty, but you know, trying to really convince me, because I kept on saying, you know, I'm still feeling under the weather, and I really don't want to get sick again, and I feel like my immunity is struggling right now. And honestly, I didn't tell her, I just didn't want to go. I just don't, you know. And
that should be enough.
That should be enough.
Yeah.
And it probably took her 3 excuses of like, this is number thing. And no, really. And she was really, it wasn't, she wasn't being mean about it.
Sure.
At least she was saying like, oh, but blah, blah, blah. They want to see you. They haven't even met you yet. Or there's going to be a lot of food there.
I know. Like, my dad is very much like that. They just want you to enjoy things like they do. They want you to be involved and always want you there, which is so nice.
So good though, because I see you and your dad, and you're so sweet and you respond kindly. I am such a bitch to my mom. I
not
felt
always.
so bad because I'll admit this, my mom doesn't watch this podcast, but I was such a bitch to my mom a lot of the holiday because I just got annoyed.
Yeah, no, I definitely get annoyed with Tyson has seen me definitely get annoyed with my parents. Yeah, because there comes a point where it's like, when are you gonna take no for an answer?
Yeah. And so I brought Franny with me.
Yeah.
Like,
who's Franny?
My cat, Franny. And, you know, we were just cuddling with a blankie in the couch and, like, you know, watching free cable, because who has cable nowadays except for your parents, you know? Xfinity back in the Bay.
I think I get it from my sister. My sister shares her account with us.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm like, I miss these commercials.
I know. I'm like... the game show network is like my favorite thing. Like, I'm such an old person. Like, Press Your Luck. I remember watching Press Your Luck when I was little, and now I like watch it. Like, Elizabeth Banks is the host now.
She is?
Yeah, she's great on it.
She's so funny.
She is, but I love game shows.
Things. Yeah, it's simple things. So that was my holiday. I stayed a little bit longer than expected because my mom's like, "You're leaving already?" Aww. And I was like, "Mom," this is where the bitchiness came out again for me. I was like, "I told you," and I told Dad that I was like, I wanted some time even before New Year's to go home because I have a lot not even relax. And I was like, "No, I have a lot to do. Lesson planning of not even school, but like confirmation where, you know, I have to like
A lot of things to prepare
and
for.
So much. And
What's your bitchiness though? Like how
I'm trying to
are
remember.
you actually bitchy or you just feel that way?
No, I did respond
Because
in
I
that
can
way.
be really mean, like, oh my God.
Oh, I can't cuss to my parents.
Oh, see,
Do
I
you?
grew up in a house that cursed like
I
that.
love it.
No, yeah, it was just like my parents' mouths, like.
Oh, you mentioned because your dad, Jesus Christ!
Oh yeah. That's like tame for him. Yeah, it was just like an adjective. It's just like a word.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah. I remember the first time I cursed in front of my parents in front of Tyson. He was like,
I can't believe you're just
yeah, and now he's just like lets it fly.
Like,
Yeah,
what's
it's like
up?
nothing.
Oh my God. Good to know that I can freely cuss in front of your parents.
Oh yeah, and people for some reason, I don't know what kind of energy I give off, but whenever I curse for the first time, they're always like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you cursed," and I'm like, "Oh, you don't know
That's
me at
so
all." 'Cause I have
weird.
the worst
Maybe
mouth.
if they hadn't met you yet and you hadn't spoken too much yet.
I think that's what it is.
Because you're so pretty and so
No.
delicate and looking, but when you hear you speak, you're like, oh no, she has a backbone, she has a perspective, you're very strong. But if you hadn't
trucker's mouth.
spoken yet, I think that's why they're like, oh.
Yeah. No, I have a terrible mouth.
Stacie, she's very
My
free.
favorite word is the C word. Well, I was like, I should have been British because, like, it's not a big deal over there to
In a
use that
past
word, but
life.
in America, it's like, but yeah,
past
I think
life.
it's funny. But yeah,
How was your holiday?
it was good. So we went to my parent. No, actually, Christmas was here, and it was just me. My parents came to stay with us, so it was just my husband, my parents, and then Perla. But we just made prime rib, and yeah, it was delicious. Yeah, and just relaxed. But yeah, it's just when you don't have kids around, it's like a different perspective.
It
Like kids kind of
is.
make it fun,
They
and
do,
like
they make-
'cause they're
especially
so
on holiday,
excited,
Christmas.
and their energy about it is so
Presents
cute. And then we
yeah.
Zoom called with my brother and sister's families. But for New Year's, we went to Vegas at my parents' house, and my brother and his family went. My sister unfortunately couldn't come, and that's what sucks. I think about the holidays. It's like we're all so spread out. Like I'm in LA, my parents are in Vegas, my brother is in the Bay-ish, like he's like in Lake County, and then my sister's in Texas. So it's
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, it's so sad that like we can't spend every holiday together. So it was nice having my brother's family there, and it was my niece's 18th birthday.
Oh my gosh, 18.
Yeah, so we got to celebrate her. I know, it's a big birthday. It's very exciting. But we couldn't stay that long because Tyson had to come back to work. But it was fun. Yeah. I love relaxing holidays.
It sounds like it was a very relaxing holiday.
Yeah, but I like that you're able to say no. Is that like a resolution that you have for the new year, or like a goal to
Kind
kind of
of.
like say no to things
To
or to
own
people?
it. Yeah. And to trust my gut initially, because I think I have to honor those signs. I know that there are signals. I want to read my body.
Sure.
And I'm trying to get better at that, especially with like the intimacy direction work. If this is something that I am teaching and, you know, helping other actors with, like, I want to be able to do that for myself also and recognize it within me. So no, and boundaries and all of that, not only with our bodies, but yeah, I love saying it verbally and being okay with it. And there's a way to do it too. That this is what I need to practice because I didn't do it with my mom. Just do it decently. I think I can do that with everybody but my mom.
Because we're so close to them, like, and I always feel bad, like, once I snap at my parents, but sometimes it's like, God, yeah, like, take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get it, like, they don't see us as much, and so they want to spend as much time with us as possible, but still, like, if you're not feeling well, or if you just don't want to do it. Yeah, because I am such a homebody. I'm such an introvert. So... But then I'm also like, I don't know if I'd call myself a people pleaser, but I don't like to let people down, I guess. So if I say like I can't go to things and they sound disappointed, like I feel bad.
That's what you just said right there is what I was feeling.
Yeah, but it's like you go do your thing and then we can celebrate another way. And I feel like, you know, there are some people in my life where like I have to like come prepared with like excuses because they won't take no on the first excuse. And so like I have to like plan.
You have to already think, what can I say?
Yeah. Like as an introvert, like I feel like I've just been preparing for that like my whole life to just be like, no, like, and then if they say like, oh, well, there's this, I'm like, oh, well, we can't blah, blah, blah because of this. So there's like at least three different reasons. Like I have to like prepare myself to say no to things like when I don't want to go.
That's so smart to just have them on deck already.
I know, but it's like, should we have to do that?
No, you shouldn't have to. You don't. You shouldn't. That's something I have to practice too, of just like being firm with it and still being respectful, but really putting my foot down.
Yeah.
Of when I say that, I think I'm learning like I can button it when I say no, but thank you for the offer, you know, and I totally understand why. I wish I had done this with my mom and I didn't. Like, thank you for inviting me, and I know it would mean a lot to you and all the reasons that you stated, but again, I would rather stay home. I think this is where I was bitchy. It was like, do you really want me to go and I don't feel well? Like, I really don't. I was like, I really don't want to go. I think I was just being like a teenager.
You're still nice though. Like, I get like me.
But my tone, I think even for me at least, my tone and attitude, it wasn't my finest moment because that's not how I would speak to friends or other people I respect.
I try to do like, it's like, why do you treat the people that are closest to you the harshest and don't have as much like grace for them as other people?
It is why do we do that? It's
but we might also know how to push each other's buttons also if we're, you know, as close or, you know, I don't know, but it's just saying no is hard.
Yeah, it is. Do you have any like resolutions or goals or things you're thinking of for 2024?
Oh, goals. I know I do have one goal is to like get representation. Either literary.
See, I like
mainly
it
acting.
Tangible thing.
Yeah. So that is one of my main goals. And to get representation that like I feel connected to. Because I don't want just someone who, I don't know, it seems like very transactional. Like, and I don't even know if that's possible, but I feel like it is. Because I know a lot of people like are friends with their agents, or like it's not just like a business thing. And I'm not saying I have to have that, but just seeing me as more like a person and vice versa. So that's the goal, and not settling either just for someone because I need it, because I can't really get those great auditions without that type of representation.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, this is a very tangible thing of like, yes, that's what I want. That's my goal. Plan, execute.
Yeah. And so that's one of them. Do you have any?
Tangible stuff like that. It's weird because I was thinking about this on the drive here of like tangible things. It's weird because last year I had more of those of like freeze my eggs, done. You know, teaching my first semester wasn't even a goal. It just kind of happened into my, you know, it fell onto my lap. And a lot of the accomplishments of the year happened without me planning it.
But you did it. That's amazing.
And I think that's what I'm trying to be loose about it and be open and ready for opportunities, because a lot of these things like, some of these things I have been working towards, maybe I didn't have a clear idea of what it is. Yes, I knew I wanted to teach at some point and like sent applications, had interviews, and didn't get placed right away for teaching, but late December, like followed up, and like lo and behold, an opportunity came up because I followed through. So I think because I knew I was going into 2023 last year, a lot of things are happening already. I don't even have time to make resolutions and
I don't even. Yeah, resolutions never work out for me.
And I think that's why I've stopped too, making resolutions. But this year, I think the no is a big one because it's a mindset. Also, it's not a very tangible thing, but it's just something to keep in mind. Just because it's not even just one sector of my life; it's like all facets.
But it affects a lot of things.
It does.
Yeah. For me, it's a lot about like self-preservation and like taking care of myself. If I don't want to go out, then I don't go out. But then there's also, you know, that balance of, you know, which is another goal of mine, is like really strengthening or deepening like the relationships that I do have, that I do care about, and making sure like those don't, you know, just fall off, and that people know that like I care about them is like important for me.
That resonates because especially as we get older, it's and we get busier, and some people have other commitments, priorities, families, marriages, etc., jobs.
Exactly.
It's hard to keep those related. And I notice that my circle and people who I really take that time and energy to do what you say and really cultivate that relationship. It does take a mindful practice to do
because
that.
It's a lot of energy to have relationships.
It is. It does take energy. I think I took that for granted younger because like, it's easy to meet up and like, a whole group thing, let's do it. We're all kind of on the same page, but like now we're older, you have to prep yourself. And
I think that's why it's important for me to keep those like relationships that are meaningful to me, to keep them, you know, to foster those relationships, because they do take so much energy. But I feel like it's kind of effortless, like when you have like a really solid friendship or relationship, and it doesn't like, it's not as burdensome when it's like with people who I feel like I need to go see because we're friends or whatever. Whereas like when I'm with them, like I don't really have a connection, but like we've had a history, or we're friends when we were younger or something. Whereas like there's not like that connection. That to me takes a lot of energy.
That's a different kind of work.
It is. Whereas like if you just are really like connected with someone and have like a great deep relationship, then it doesn't feel like it's taking as much energy.
You are one of those people
are
for
forgiving
me.
as well. No, I know. I feel like I'm talking to you. I feel like I'm talking. Yeah.
Even though we're trying to include the audience.
But it is. It's so true.
Yeah.
Because, and I feel like when you're that close with someone, like if I tell you like, oh, I'm not like, I don't feel like it or whatever, like I don't have to give you excuses. It's just like, oh, okay, I understand.
Totally. Understand.
Yeah. But yeah, and I think also like leaving behind those burdensome relationships, which I don't feel like I really have anymore, because I feel like I've gotten rid of rid of them, but I've just kind of like, you know, they've
don't make the effort.
They've had their they had their moment. Yeah.
I think I'm learning that as I get older too. I'm not making an effort to foster those and cultivate those relationships now. Like I can count probably on like less than 2 hands, maybe 1 hand. Like, oh no, I'm going to make this conscious effort to like reach out and talk and spend time with these people, because it is, you're all right. Even though it takes that effort and we want to do it, we receive something in turn.
Exactly.
You know?
I was just going to say that.
It's because it feeds you, rather than when you compare it to toxic relationships, it's draining.
It's not even toxic. Even just like, no, we're there, and
that's
we don't.
True too.
Like even sometimes those are kind of worse, because I feel like
you don't even have an excuse. You're not even toxic. I don't even just want to spend time with you.
It's just like I feel obligated.
Obligated. Oh, I know.
Yeah, and I think that's what I feel like I've left a lot of those behind, is like that obligation, because whatever history we had or whatever, I felt like we had to have a friendship when we've kind of grown out of it. As opposed to like you said, like sometimes just being an introvert, I dread having to do things. And then I always tell Tyson, like, once I'm there, like, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that I came. But just like the thought of like having to get ready, having to like go out of the house is like a lot. But then like with some people, like you just have such a great connection that, like you said, like it gives you a lot of energy. It feeds you. It gives you, you know, so much, as opposed to being so draining. But those ones that are draining are just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Like, why? Oh, I just wasted that time when I could have been. That's going to sound so bad. I could have been doing something else.
Yeah. But, you know, it could be vice versa. And maybe, like, I feel like, not that it was reciprocated, but like, there wasn't a lot of effort on the other side either. So maybe they felt the same way. And it's just, you know, relationships run their course. And, you know, you want to wish them the best or whatever, but you don't have to, like, take parts of your life out to, like, accommodate, you know, significant portions of your time to people that, you know, is not mutually beneficial.
You just open a door and I'm going to look. I'm going to start talking it. Okay. With friendships like that, because no names, you'll know who I'm talking about.
I will?
Yeah.
Oh,
of
okay.
like closing that door and like, because if one party, for whatever reason, does not want to be friends any longer.
Yeah.
If it's mutual, yes. It's almost like both of you recognize that you're both, usually it's mostly you're both busy and it just phases out because neither person is putting in effort, or you're just respectfully declining an invitation because, oh, I'm busy, because whether you're lying or not, you're just declining. But when people completely shut you out and you don't know why, that's why I'm like, why do you do that? And even if, I'll speak in my own personal thing, even if I had done something, I would like to know why. And if you don't want to be friends anymore, let me know.
Yeah, give me the, you know, grace or respect to just not leave me hanging.
Yeah.
And not, because I feel like, especially like when you have like a relationship you really care about, like you put a lot of effort into it, and you make sure you like to make that person know that you care about them. And so for you not to feel that reciprocation is kind of like,
especially when the friendship that I'm talking about, we shared that same conversation that you had just mentioned of, we're at a point in our lives where we don't have that many people in our lives that we connect to and want to make that effort with anymore. Like, I at least verbalized that to this friend. So they understood. And, you know, I don't know if that person was on the same page. I think that might be the difference maker, because I think that type, I'll say it, maturity in friendship viewpoint, I don't think that person understood or could relate to it. Maybe listen to it and it's like, oh, I get it intellectually, but I think that person still needs, I think, remember that person saying, I don't get why, like, so-and-so, like, we're not friends anymore, because an ex was like, he was friends with his ex's friends, you know, and it kind of dissipated, and he still wanted those friendships. And it's like, well, that's obviously why you're not friends. There's a reason, you know. They obviously chose a side, you know, and there's probably other reasons in there, you know. And at least you know, the reason. And I could tell that this person is hanging on to wanting those relationships still versus what we're talking about. Like, no, I want to be friends with people who want to be friends with me and
That is a
reciprocate.
huge thing for me as well. Like, if I invite you to go to things, but you never invite me to do anything, that's weird to me. Like, that's a one-sided friendship.
It is a one-sided friendship.
And I can't do those.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm like begging you to like be my friend.
Yeah,
and you're just like,
exactly.
yeah. So if I like invite you like a few times and like you've never invited me, I kind of like let it go.
Like that, any type inviting you or just even making the effort of initiating some sort of connection. That's why I think that's another resolution for me of like being mindful of that in friendships or any type of relationship. Where is it one-sided, clocking that, and okay, I don't have to discount that, but taking that mental note. Okay, understood. I don't have to exert that much energy with you then. And that's why even for this particular friend, I'm like, okay, I can let that go.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, it's one-sided. And, but I still would like an answer because for me, it's that not understanding what happened that I'm fine with the friendship ending and I never have to talk to you again, but it's the not knowing.
I know.
Because I would like to know if I had misstepped.
Sure.
I don't think I did. But like, I would like to know what it is so I can close it and be like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But unfortunately, like with some people, like you may never get that.
Never get it. Yeah.
And I feel like that's on them. Like if they had ever valued you as a friend, like they would be able to have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you feel, I guess, do you feel like you were ever valued as a friend by this person?
Yes and no. Because yes, in the moment, because I'm so about presence and connecting in the moment and in conversation, because when you're having that back and forth, I'm all about communication. So for me, that's key. So yes, in that sense, but no, when I look back throughout, the one-sidedness, I know I would make the effort to not even phone calls just to say, hey, because that person would do it also. But I think one-sidedness in opening your world to them because it's like, oh yeah, like get to know. It's not just a phone call. If it's just talking you and me on a phone call, like on the phone, it's just like, why is this so closed from...
When they initiated any contact or did they ever initiate like, hey, let's hang out or anything?
No. See, that's why it feels...
When they initiated like phone calls or conversations, was it like, hey, how are you? Or was it like...
I think when the how are you was asked... There was some interest of like,
interest or care?
Interest and care, because like what it sucks because like he has helped me in some aspects, you know. And this is what I valued and like was able to help out, like, oh, here is a solution to something that you shared, which was lovely. Yeah. That we're benefiting from it now. Wink. Thanks, Kyle, and you can keep this. No, you have to cut that out. I'm so sorry, Kyle. You have to cut that out. That'll be an inside joke for just the three of us. But where do I take it from? Transactional. Yeah.
Did you feel like there was care on his end?
I think this friend needed a friend to talk to, which I kind of recognized at the time. And I could always use a friend to talk to. And a lot of our conversations were on the road. So that was fine. I was like, oh, great. You know, hear how each other's doing and all that stuff. Well, we're getting to our next destination. But you're so right. There was never, let's make an effort to make time to hang out.
Like friends.
Yeah. So that's something I want to be mindful of moving forward, again with friendships, going back to friendships and resolutions, of really assessing, is this serving me and how? And because time is so limited now with as we get to adulthood, I don't want to be just frivolous.
We've been in adulthood for
a long time, but we're like adulthood.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real. We're not even no longer adulting. No, we're straight up adults.
But we're doing so many things, I feel, right now.
That's
like
why.
when I think of like everything that I'm trying to do, I'm just like, oh my God.
Time is so limited.
It is.
We're doing so many things now where we really have to carve out time.
And why prioritize someone who doesn't want to prioritize?
Exactly. So when it comes to that, I think that's why I'm so bitter, because I was like, I am so limited with time.
Yeah.
And like, now that, to me, that sounds like a waste. Even though people are like, oh, you never want to like waste time. It's like, no, motherfucker, I feel like that's wasted time.
It is.
Especially because I'm no longer talking to you. That's why it feels like wasted time.
Yeah. But I feel like you learn something from that.
Yeah,
like, you know, what your value is.
Yeah.
And then prioritizing yourself, I feel, is like the biggest like resolution, I feel, for everyone every year, is to like prioritize yourself and your own health and your own mental, emotional space as well. So I'm glad that you're doing that.
Thank you. So we're saying no to things, prioritizing ourselves, really taking a careful look at our friendships and being careful like how and when we spend our time with whom. And we are going to get representation for Stacie that she really loves. Not just anyone. We are putting it out there. Someone that she really clicks with.
Yes. Thank you.
And you know, I'd already told you I will help you with that. With your EBK.
Yeah.
So done. I like your like goal is because I can put check marks on how to achieve that. Those are the things that, just like my egg
freezing. Do you feel like you can't put check marks on like something that isn't as tangible?
It's so esoteric that it's a constant reminder and mindset that I practice rather than I like checking boxes.
Okay. Like you had like having it's like kind of having like a grocery list.
Exactly.
Or like
because I was like, oh, let me create a plan. I can make those check marks. Maybe even if I do those check marks, it might not happen, but it'll happen in a way in good timing. So for me, I have more control with that. So that's why
But it could be like, oh, checking this friend off.
Maybe that way. Yeah, I love that.